Hey, ISHTUers, crazy thing happened to me this week. I broke one of the cardinal rules, and it really shouldn't happen to us, but I went to dinner with a prospect. If you listen to today's episode, you're gonna hear about how it's no place for sales. Restaurants, bars, coffee shops, you don't do selling there. You do relationship there, you do some lead gen there, you do some client service work there. You don't sell in restaurants. And that's what today's episode's all about. Enjoy the podcast. Straight from the heart of Miami, this is It Shouldn't Happen to Us. After 30 years of selling and training sales teams, we still screw it up sometimes. And this is where we tell you all about it, because it shouldn't happen to us.
Hi, Carlos.
Sophia Rodriguez, how are you?
Sofia Rodriguez, Carlos Garrido. How you doing, Carlos?
You say it so much better than I... Not look at that. Listen to that. You say it so much better than I say it. Well, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Tell me about your sales this week.
Sales this week. Well, I'm interested to hear about yours too, but let me tell you about mine. Hey, you know what? Closed a couple of interesting new clients this week, which was cool. I had my first session this morning with one new client. I did 2 sessions Tuesday and Wednesday with another new client. So that's cool. And so a couple of nice closes. Hey, that's always good. My pipeline is okay. It isn't spectacular at the moment. And I had I went on it shouldn't happen to us, right?
It
shouldn't. But I went for dinner last night with I walked into it. I had dinner last night with a prospect. There you are. That's something you should never say.
I already know where this is going.
You should never say, I had dinner last night with a prospect. What a load of nonsense. I should absolutely know better. It shouldn't happen to us. If you're a sales leader out there and one of your sales guys says something idiotic, like I just said, oh, I had dinner last night with a prospect, beat them round the head with something sturdy like a chair. Because that is it's just amateur hour. I had dinner last night with a prospect. Sophia, now, we know...
I hate dinners, hate lunches, hate dinner, sales conversations, lunches, coffee, brunch.
I walked into it. I was thinking, it was somebody I hadn't spoken to for a long time. I wanted to reconnect. I'd done a little intro Zoom to connect. That was groovy. And then it just felt natural to we were going to grab a lunch or a dinner or something. And I wasn't thinking of it like a selling event. I wasn't, which is amateur.
You weren't going into it. It sounds like you weren't going. You were thinking this was more bonding a rapport, connecting with the person.
Relationship, connection. But I also know that this is someone that's in my pipeline. It's an absolute prospect. Absolutely is. And so how did I miss that trap? Because I know you don't have dinners and lunches with prospects. You have them with relationships. You have them with, maybe with a lead who one day might become a prospect. You do relationship stuff in restaurants, bars, and cafes. You don't do selling stuff in restaurants, bars, and cafes. You do client service stuff in restaurant, bars, and cafes. I'm a social animal. I'm not that social, but I'm a little bit social. And but you don't do selling stuff in restaurants, bars, and cafes.
This is going to kill our listeners who say that sales is all about relationships.
Oh my God, don't say. I know you're saying it as a good example of of how not to think about it. But it just makes me feel queasy, right? Doesn't it make you feel queasy?
I used to be, and especially because I used to be that person. I really used to be that person. I'd go to the lunches and I'd go to a networking event and come out with one golf game, a beer, a lunch, and a bunch of bullshit on my calendar.
And you felt like you'd done some good work today, right?
Felt like, wow, I have some great connect with big wigs, by the way.
Oh.
President of this car dealership. Oh, president of this company. So I felt like a freaking rock star. Well, a month later, I had nothing in my pipeline because I couldn't put them in my pipeline because it really hadn't even turned into a sales conversation. And by the way, I'm sure this is what you're going to share, but when it does turn into a sales conversation, there's no worse place than a bar with a pint to start where you can't take any of your notes. And you think, in theory, it's like, oh, but it's so disarming and it's such a great place because they're not going to be holding their cards close to their vest. No. You need to have a proper buttoned up meeting to get anything done in that conversation.
So great. I'm going to drop this on our listeners and our viewers. Great sales technique. You've finished a selling event. You finished the sale, whether that's a discovery 1, discovery 2, discovery major, discovery minor. Maybe it's a control and contract meeting. Maybe it's a lead development meeting, whatever it is. A real selling event. And we know it's a selling event because we knew there was going to be a decision at the end of it. So we walked into the event in the absolute knowledge that there's a decision going to happen at the end, even if that decision is just the next step. I mean, I'm not saying people are shoving checks into each other's hands. I'm saying there's a real well understood decision, selling event. We know it's going to be a selling event. You come out of that event and your first job, number one job, is you either summarize what you've learned, what the next steps are, what the contract is for the next step and everything. You summarize it all in an email, or if you want to be particularly smashing, if you just want to be brilliant at this, you summarize it in a video. You do a video, cool. You use the full texture of the full visual paint of the video. You use your body language, you use your tonality, and you do a video summary of here's what we talked about. Here's the cool things we discovered. Here's what the next steps was that we agreed on. Boom. Email, or if you're going to be really good, do it in video. Now, I'm trying to do that today, having consumed 2 or 3 sangrias at dinner. So half of it I'm forgetting, right? And as I'm writing up my notes, and I didn't write anything down. So as I'm summarizing this, things are occurring to me. Oh, we also discussed that, and that's an important point. And I'm like, so
it's all disjointed.
And if it's occurring to me, what isn't occurring to me, right? It's just out of control. And I knew. So I knew this was a prospect, and I knew it was dinner. But for some reason, I didn't feel like I was breaking the rule of don't have dinner with prospects. For some reason, I knew this was a prospect. I knew this was dinner. But for some reason, I broke the rule of you don't sell at dinner. Guys, if you're listening to this or if you are watching this, please take away. You don't sell in restaurants. You don't sell in bars. You don't sell in cocktail hours. You don't sell in cafes. And you don't sell at the cricket match or the tennis match. Actually, not many American people sell at cricket matches, in fairness. But you don't sell at all these various social events. Social is for, like you said, it's for bonding and rapport. It's for relationship enhancement. It's for cool client service meetings.
Man, and if you try, Carlos, let's say the agenda, it was understood, not like what happened to you, which was crouching tiger, hidden sales call, right? If it's
it was exactly that. That's the title of this episode.
That's the title.
That's the title of this episode. Let me write it down. Crouching tiger, hidden sales call. Is that what you said? Hidden sales call. That is absolutely brilliant.
So even if it's blatantly understood that it's a sales call, and even if you don't have an adult beverage, it's a shit show. You're sitting there, and the way you're getting in deep, you're putting them in a crock pot of pain, which, you're getting to the good stuff. Then the waitress comes and interrupts, and everyone's eating. You realize
she did it 3 times yesterday. I'm chatting away. We're writing. We're talking. That I was just about to get to a groovy point, and it's
she's like the cock block of pain.
You turned up. Hello again. I'm like, you are kidding me. I was just about to get to some cool data point, and she was like, "So, any room for dessert?"
No.
There's always room for dessert.
Yo, you just wish there was a trap door, on the table, trap door button that just would make her disappear. No. It's bad, and it's hard to maintain control of the conversation, and it's loud, and then you're eating your food, and you're getting food, you're getting food on your keyboard or on your notebook. I hate it. I just hate everything about it. It's not good. Don't set sales calls at breakfast, lunch, dinner. Don't do it.
No. You don't do it now. Here's what I think I told myself. This is a relationship. This is relationship work.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think if I'd have been more diligent, or maybe if I hadn't had 2 or 3 glasses of sangria, I think I might have been able to control it and not let it, morph into Crouching Tiger, hidden. That's brilliant. Hidden sales call. I think it could have stayed as cool, get to know you, bonding and rapport, chit, chat.
Which
Here's
is
the
even
other thing.
a slippery slope. Okay,
Here's
tell
the
me.
other thing, right? So prospect, high D style, eagle style. Sales guy, me, high D style, eagle style, which means lightning in a bottle. Neither of us really want to be there. The only thing we really like talking about is business anyway, right? So we sit there and it's like, we're not going to ask her about her kids or talk about my kids. I don't know. Nobody gives a shit, right? The only thing I like to talk about is business anyway. So I start asking, hey, how's business? Chat. Now I'm finding out about business. And now curiosity Carlos comes out like, oh, so how many of those have you got? And tell me about that. How do you run that? And before you know it, I'm in a discovery. And I didn't even notice I was in a discovery meeting. I didn't even notice it happen.
It's like a trap door.
But of course it was going to become a discovery meeting because I don't like to talk about anything but that. It's the only thing I like doing. Yeah. So of course it's going to turn into that. I shouldn't have let myself... it's like I tell my teenage kids, you've let yourself down, right? I'd let myself down. I
just think, honestly, Carlos, even for its disc profile agnostic, I think going to lunch, dinner, especially if there's adult beverages involved, it's like once they see you as in a buddy light, I think it's dangerous in terms of equal business stature. It might be a slippery slope. That doesn't mean you can't become buddies with your clients, but perhaps make them your client first and then go get sangria with them, right? But I think, and maybe for me in my experience, I've always found that once I was buddy having a wine with them, that shepherding them back into a business conversation was tricky because I didn't have that respect anymore, if that makes sense.
I've seen you drunk and I understand that. So it's not, I think also, I always think you can look back at something like, I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned out of things like Madmen. Do you ever watch Madmen? Don Draper.
I've seen a few. Yeah.
Do you know those guys back in the 60s did it right? 60s and 70s. And I was a baby in the 70s, but
the whining dining.
The wine and dine happened, and you'd see them in these 60s, New York cafe, in New York restaurants, and the whining and dining happened, but the business happened in the office.
Right.
So whining and dining.
That's the point. That's the overarching point.
But I believe that is of the 50s, of the 60s and 70s, and maybe the 80s. I don't think that's how business happens anymore. I think that's nonsense. I think that's 30 years out of date. There is no reason to put it in a bar, in a restaurant, in a breakfast, at a polo match. There's no reason. A client, yes. A prospect, there's no business being there with you in those events. Now, if it's a networking event and it's lead gen, rock star, no problem with lead gen. But a prospect has no business in lunch with you. Really, really not. No need to. Because like our clients tell us, Sophia, in my business, in my industry.
Oh, man.
In my industry, the relationship comes first and the sale comes next. I mean, it's just such a bullshit. It's not true.
Well, and the worst
is the 70s, right?
Well, dinner is bad, but lunch in the middle of the workday is killer. Yeah. I don't know if I'm sure our listeners are thinking, damn, definitely. You go to a prospecting lunch with a prospect. You don't leave with any clear next steps because it's kind of just understood that it's chit chat. You go for an hour and a half, you get back to your desk, it kills your productivity because I don't know how much time you spend in the car coming back. Lunch is in the middle of the day. Oh, for me, I've learned to just say no. I've just learned to say no.
It's because it's 30 years out of date, that bullshit. It really is. You
killer.
You do the lunches and the dinners with clients. And if you want to be a real rock star about it, you turn it into a lead gen event and you actually do some referral swaps. And, you're talking about referrals and introductions.
That's different.
That's brilliant. No problem with that. Gone are the days that the sale comes out of the relationship. Nowadays, it's the relationship comes out of the sale. Get the selling done first. And the selling happens in a Zoom room or in an office. Now, I'm going to qualify that because I'm now thinking of Antonio, who used to do a lot of lunches and stuff. The bigger deals, there's a place in the deal, in the flow of the deal. There's a place in the flow of the meetings for some relationship stuff. There is. It slows you down. It does slow you down, but like as Professor Conor McGregor says, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So it does slow you down. Sometimes for a bigger deal, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah.
But for the kind of deal that I was, the kind of prospect I was at this dinner last night, or that should be a 1 or 2 meeting close. You don't need slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You need, let's do it. That's all you need. Let's have a proper conversation where we're both communicating with clarity and no sangria. And let's actually just agree, are we going to work together or not? It's not difficult. Now, if you're doing a monster deal, multiple step, complex decision-making hierarchies, then there's I remember Antonio was doing a killer deal at the end of last year. Monster company, like a $5 billion revenue business. And we had this deal on the line. It was ready to close. It was a monster account. Beautiful. And then him and the board go out for dinner, and everybody just gets absolutely trousered, like ridiculous. When these boards from these $5 billion companies go out, it's not like, I'll have a glass of Chardonnay, please. It's $300, $400 bottles of wine, and many of them. And they got smashed. What do you think happened to the deal? That deal didn't happen because they got absolutely trouser-legged together. They really did. And then it span out of all control. Killed the deal. It killed the deal.
Oh, my God.
Never close a deal at dinner.
Oh.
Well, if it's a very big deal, you can use a dinner or a lunch.
Drunken dinner signing a deal sounds non-consensual.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's right. Did they have the capacity? Did they say yes? And did they have the capacity to say yes? That's what we should be asking ourselves. Did we? I don't. You never close at dinner, especially not 4 or 5, $300 bottles of wine in. You just don't. You don't.
Well, and by the way, to our ISHTUers listeners, man, I'm telling you, I used to go out to golf, tennis.
Oh God!
Thinking I'm getting closer to a big wig, and I wasn't. I was creating cool friends. We were connected on Facebook. I knew the names of their kids. They knew a little more about me, but they weren't turning into a client anytime soon. And I would have prospects that I had that nice company card. So I had that nice company card.
The nice company payment card.
Yeah. So I had one prospect comes to mind. I would take her out to all the lunches, and she'd be late every time, and it would shave off 3 hours. And my sales manager would be like, "Where are you?" And I'd be there with her. No, just no.
Clients is right. Prospecting is
Clients is right.
It's
not the right time.
It's not the right time. So what do we do, right? So we're sat in that meeting and here's what I should have done. When I realized that it'd become a sales call, the first thing I need to do is smash my head against the wall, because of course it was going to become a sales call. I had nowhere else to go. Of course it was going to become a sales call. So I should never have let myself get there. But when I realized that was my opportunity to say, hey, you know what? Look what's happening. We should be getting to know each other again, saying hello. We should be reconnecting. And look, we're just talking about business, and this isn't the right environment. I'm not going to be giving it the right kind of attention. I'm not doing you a service there. How do you feel about putting this back into social life?
Put a pin in it.
And let's put a pin in this, right? And then let's just reconnect.
If there's something you really want to chat about, let's put some time on the calendar next week so we can have our proper notes and we can really take a good look at this. not
Yeah.
with sangria and Caesar's chicken salad.
And Caesar chicken salad. The steak was good, though.
Steak was
So, what's up? First thing you've got to do, team ISHTUers, listeners, viewers, first thing you got to do is you've got to get yourself over to our onto a hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. You got to do that because we're dropping magic every week, Sophia and I. Second thing you've got to do, they've got to sign up for the newsletter, right? That weekly newsletter, the Monday Momentum. It's like high performing sale.
How do they find our newsletter?
If you go to the ISHTU pod, that's ISHTU pod. Is it a .net or a .com? I think it's a .com.
We don't know our URL. Hold on.
.com. Figure it out. It's a .com. So, and that ISHTU stands for It Shouldn't Happen to Us. It's the first letters of It Shouldn't Happen to Us. Get yourself over to there. Put your name in the in the little box for a newsletter. You're gonna love the newsletter. It's just three or four.
It's a little yummy vitamin shot.
It is, right? It's like not like
it's delicious.
It's like my Carolina gets these little shot things that she puts in the fridge, and it's like ginseng,
like a juice shot, ginseng and ginger and lemon and whatever. Anything you might not
like that for your sales, right? For your pipeline. That's what it is. It's one of those ginseng shots for your pipeline is what it is.
I love a ginseng shot for your pipeline, and maybe it's a colon cleanse. Maybe for your bloated, constipated pipeline, it might flush out anything that shouldn't be there either.
Heavy on the fiber for your pipeline. Yeah, there's a nice visual.
You're welcome, listeners.
You're welcome. Let's get that constipated pipeline moving again, right? Let's get some
get some movement.
All right. So, hey, listen, guys. What's the big lesson from today? What is it, Sophia?
No. Just say no. Just say no to dinner, lunch, breakfast, sales calls.
That is genius advice from Nancy Reagan. Just say no, right?
Just say no.
Say no to those dinner, lunchtime, tennis match,
prospect,
cricket match, prospect meetings. It's going to go sideways fast. That is no place to sell. You sell in a Zoom room and you sell in an office, and you don't sell at Starbucks or dinner.
No sangria flowing at the sales call.
And no sangria. There shouldn't be any sangria until after you've closed the deal. So with that, it's going to be, let's say goodbye. So that's the pod. Goodbye from Sophia.
And goodbye from Carlos. Don't forget to subscribe, folks.
Subscribe. Send it to your friends.